When it seems the headlines are filled with bad news, we like to turn the focus on happy Kentuckians. Ordinary folks with the extraordinary ability to make people smile in the spirit of the Bluegrass.
From Fox 56 News, this is a Spirit of the Bluegrass special with Marvin Bartlett.
Good evening. Over the next half hour, I'll revisit some of the people I've met over the past 6 years and give you an update on where they are now. Some of our favorite examples of the upbeat attitude we call the spirit of the Bluegrass. Up first, a man who needed more space to display his collection of antiques. He didn't just add on to his house, he built a whole town. There's a growing town along US 27 that you won't find on the map.
I started 2003.
The self-proclaimed mayor and his wife are the only residents, and he named the town for himself, Punkyville.
Had it ever since I was a pup. They always called me that name. A lot of people don't even know my first name.
Charles Punky Beckett built the town for a simple reason. He needed a place to put his stuff.
I got a lot of stuff. A lot of people's never seen that. That's what they come for.
Punky collects antiques and novelty items, old cars and conversation pieces.
You probably never heard of them either. I got leather postcards.
But he didn't want to put his collection in boring warehouses. He decided to give his storage sheds the movie set treatment.
There's a general store on this end. Then I had the post office in there. Got bigger and had to get out of there.
Now there's a mini hotel, a dentist's office, a gas station, a caboose, and a church, with items inside each one to match the theme. He does have a favorite thing to collect.
Signs. Any kind of metal signs. I ain't much on plastic. You just don't get enough signs.
Sometimes a building starts with the sign, such as this one for a bank. Visitors stop by Punkyville all the time. They're welcome to look around, and the mayor wouldn't dream of charging admission.
No.
Imagine how much fun it would be to come here as a kid and pretend like you're in an old western town. You could even lock your friends up in jail. Punky says he hopes this is a place where imaginations run wild.
Most of the time I walk through with them. Then if somebody comes in and I got to go somewhere, I said, y'all just go on and look around and everything. I'm gone. I said, I got stuff to do.
It amazes me how he's collected all it. The money's got invested.
But Punky says a lot of it he salvaged or got for a bargain.
They always said when I was young I was cheap. I went out with the girls. I bought 1 Coke and 2 straws.
There's no need to try to put a value on it.
Ain't nothing for sale. I don't sell nothing.
Punkyville is experiencing growing pains. Items hang from the rafters, and it might be time to expand.
I think 2 or 3 more buildings. Then after that, probably another one.
You may have to go out of your way to visit Punkyville, but visitors say it's a detour worth taking. That story was from 2017. I haven't been back to Punkyville since then, but I'm told it's still the most vibrant town you'll ever find with a population of 2. Let's go back 1 year further to a story from 2016. I met a woman in Millersburg who brought smiles to people for decades with a simple, sweet treat. A lot of people don't know her by name. To them, she's just the apple pie lady. Busy travelers may speed right through Millersburg as they drive US 68. But for people in the know, this banner is like a stop sign. It's the mathematical sign for pie. And if you stop, you might just meet the pie lady.
I've got people that come from the state of Washington, Florida, every place.
Mary Lou Rankin makes fried apple pies in her small kitchen behind the building that used to house her family's hardware store.
Then I'm going to cut it out into a 6-inch circle.
She first sold her pies at a bake sale to benefit the local fire department. That was 40 years ago, and people have been asking for them ever since.
Well, they do want to get my recipe, but I don't give out my recipe. If anybody wants to pay for it, that's a different thing.
These are handheld pies made with dried apples and a secret mixture of spices.
Well, anyway, I'll use this one.
Mary Lou can barely turn around as she makes the turnovers, but this little corner is all she needs to make her magic.
They need to go just a little longer.
Her son has an art studio in the old store, but he knows when people come up to the window, more often than not, they're looking at his mother's handmade sign advertising pies.
I would say on a percentage basis, it's 80% pies and 20% art. Mom adds a secret ingredient to her apple pies, that being love. And you can't get that just anywhere. You can't get that at McDonald's.
There they are.
So how famous are the pies? She's made them for former Governor Steve Beshear and jockey Pat Day, and once sold 53 pies to a busload of day trippers from Jessamine County.
I felt like a celebrity because they were taking my picture and shaking hand and, you know, get autograph and all that stuff.
She's 87 now and has no intention of putting up the skillet.
No. I guess that keeping me busy keeps me on my feet and going and doing, you know, and I would probably just sit down in a chair. Then the first thing you know, I'd be in a nursing home.
If you visit Mary Lou's kitchen, the pies are $3. The experience is priceless.
I'll be working at this as long as I can.
Mary Lou is 93 now, and her son says she's slowed down quite a bit. She doesn't sell fried apple pies anymore, but loves it that's what she'll always be known for. Ever hear the phrase dance like no one's watching? It means you should be yourself without caring what other people think, to embrace a passion. A former University of Kentucky student does just that every time he hits the streets. The sidewalks around the University of Kentucky are always busy as students rush from classrooms and clubs to dorms and dining halls. But there's one student who stands out among the crowd.
Living the moment and, you know, enjoying life.
Tavis Okpon, a sophomore from Owensboro, is better known as the dancing guy, sliding on the sidewalks to music only he can hear.
I don't realize what's happening outside of what I'm doing.
Here's a secret. He moves to music he's produced himself. Tavis, who goes by the nickname Tavo, seldom just walks anywhere. Drivers throughout downtown Lexington have become used to seeing him. The kid who always has a smile and doesn't care what other people think. He gets horns honked at him, and UK fans give him catcalls. Not everyone knows how to take him.
I had some people react saying, is this dude on drugs? Or is this person on drugs? Or is this person all right? Or what is he on? And I'm like, I'm high on life, that's what I'm on.
Tavo says his dancing, he calls it vibing, reflects how happy he is to be in college. He says he was depressed in high school and felt people took advantage of him because he was nice. One day, not long after he first came to campus, the happiness overtook him.
Started, you know, twisting around, flipping, doing somersaults, doing handstands, rolling in the grass, you know, just laughing at myself because I was throwing away the horrible memories I had in high school.
Now, on a daily basis, he dances like no one's watching, even though he can't go unnoticed.
Kind of, you know, gives me like that little excited vibe, like, you know, lifts my spirits a little bit.
Tavo says he didn't set out to be a local legend, but he may be becoming one. He says he's seen a big increase lately in the number of people asking for photos and autographs.
I think it's something they probably can look up to, you know, something good. You want to enjoy every moment you got, especially if it's positive, you know, because you're not going to see that moment ever again.
In other words, if you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. Tavis is back in his hometown of Owensboro now. He dances in the streets there and was even asked to lead the city's Christmas parade last year. So Tavis is well known for his visual displays of the spirit of the bluegrass. But when we come back, you'll meet a man who's better known by his voice. If you listen to sports radio, there's no doubt you've heard this regular caller. Welcome back. Some people who spread joy in the spirit of the bluegrass have been doing it for a lot of years. They don't set out to be well known, but with a steady routine and a love for Kentucky, they become a familiar part of our lives. That's the case with a sports fan who likes to talk, and when he does, we like to listen. Kroger shoppers in downtown Lexington know this face. John Short has been bagging groceries for 19 years.
Is that it?
If he speaks, there's a good chance they'll know his voice as well.
Okie dokie.
John Short, how are you, my friend?
I'm blessed. I was well, thank you. How you doing around living?
A voice on the radio for 35 years.
We find y'all great Americans.
No, you are a great American. What do you got for us today?
Great win we had last night. The women's team won last night.
When John's not at Kroger, He's likely parked in front of a radio and parked on hold,
Nobody's answering.
waiting to talk to the host of a sports show about his beloved Kentucky Wildcats.
They're good to watch, they're good to follow, and I'm happy to follow them for a good long time.
His first call to a radio show was in 1985 to talk to the legendary UK announcer Kay Wood Ledford.
I just remember the first class they were going to win, and that's pretty much about it.
In fact, he's been saying the Cats are going to win in every phone call since, no matter the sport, no matter the opponent.
We're going to win Monday night by 30 biggins.
30 biggins.
There's almost a curiosity to find if there's ever a situation he wouldn't pick against the Wildcats, because I certainly haven't found it, and I don't think we will.
Back to the phones we go, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Short.
Listeners have come to love John's positivity.
Okie dokie.
He picked the men's basketball team to beat Evansville by 35 biggins. They lost by 3.
Did you learn a lesson here?
I believe I did.
And what is that lesson, John?
They don't overlook anybody.
That's right. People genuinely like John. I hear people ask me about John all the time. So he's built a fan base of his own.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
And longtime listeners know John also likes to tune in to the conservative talk shows, something he's often teased about.
John, you know, those scores you predicted, those are very liberal scores that you picked. You're a very liberal guy.
I'm not liberal. We know that.
Calling Kentucky Sports Radio.
John has lost 90% of his vision due to glaucoma. He says that's part of why he loves radio so much. The announcers help his mind see what his eyes can't. And that mind is always working. If you tell John a birth date, he'll tell you what day of the week you were born on. My son was born August 20th, 2006.
August 20, 2006. Okay. That's a Sunday.
You're right. How'd you do that?
I just went on and did it.
We're going to go to John first, right?
Calling the shows is just part of John's routine, and he admits he sometimes falls asleep waiting for his turn to talk.
When I put on for over an hour, I just lay on the bed and I do snore sometimes.
But the hosts try their best to give listeners frequent doses of John's optimism.
John Short is one of my favorite callers of all time. He is in the Sports Radio Hall of Fame because you always know when he comes on, he's going to bring a smile to your face.
Now you know the face behind the voice. When it comes to UK fans, he's a biggin.
Have a good day. Peace out, homie.
Yes, homie. Yes, indeed. Thank you.
All right. It's our good friend John Short calling in today.
John still works at Kroger, still calls the radio shows, and is eagerly awaiting the start of UK's next football season. Stay with us. Up next, we'll check in on a couple of people who are sure to make you laugh. One has a crazy car, and the other is full of puns. He calls himself a hillbilly, although he lives in the flat part of the state out west. Some of my favorite people are those who don't take themselves too seriously and don't mind being called a character. That's why I enjoyed a visit to a garden where trash is treasured and puns grow like weeds. If you're driving down US 68 near Calvert City, there's a good rest stop. If you don't mind resting on a moldy couch, you can stretch your legs here, but watch out for the sinkholes. And you may want to turn your head when you come to the pot patch. You won't rest long before you're greeted by the chief hillbilly and caretaker of Apple Valley Hillbilly Garden.
And yes, we had a nice bumper crop come in.
Keith Holt loves to give tours of his 4-acre land of bad puns.
I was shocked to have come out here one day and saw my chainsaw in a tree. Once again, shocked. Saw chainsaw.
He talks fast. You'll have to listen carefully to hear all his jokes above the noise from traffic, water wheels, and chickens.
I figure Kentucky needs its very own throne hinge. When I travel, I go to places like this. I never thought I'd own a place like this.
After living in Los Angeles for 20 years, Keith came back to his grandparents' land in 2005. He admits he's a pack rat, and one night the sheriff showed up and told him he couldn't leave abandoned vehicles or appliances on the property. Keith got around that by turning the junk into art. He painted clowns on a trailer and half-buried lawnmowers in the ground. Critics began to notice him as a folk artist.
And I went from being a public nuisance somewhere to all of a sudden a local landmark.
Now you can tour areas known as Kansas, the Valley of Lost Souls, and stand under trees that are always in bud. The whole place is his playground. He says neighbors have learned if they have something the dump won't take, they can bring it to him.
Actually, a plumber brought me about 8 toilets at once, and it was like Christmas to me.
But the real surprise here is a shed filled with 3,000 toys, dating from the early 1900s to present day.
Now, this is not my toy land. This is what I'm stuck with right now. My toy land is much grander.
Keith says he has 12,000 more toys, many of them in that trailer covered with clowns. He just needs the money to build an exhibit hall.
I wanted to create something that everyone could come to and enjoy, hopefully, their childhood.
Some people have called the whole exhibit one big piece of folk art. Apple Valley gets visitors from all over the world.
We had 6 people, one group from China just last week.
And those visitors often stare at the collection like a deer stuck in the headlights, amazed at all things tacky and wacky.
We got the scoop. We got the scoop. We got the dirt. We got the trash on you. If not, we will dig up something about you.
When Keith lived in L.A., he had hoped for a career as an entertainer.
We do grow our very own live imitation Christmas trees.
He found it nearly 2,000 miles away from Hollywood on the family funny farm. If you follow Apple Valley Hillbilly Garden on Facebook, you can get a new dose of silliness almost every day. Folks in Somerset also get a dose of silliness on a regular basis just by driving around town. They've learned to share the road with a car that looks a little different every time they see it. The roads around Pulaski County are always busy. Traffic isn't something you pay much attention to.
Well, let me see here.
Unless one particular car comes into view.
This is Somerset, Kentucky.
Bill Grider's 1995 Toyota Tercel is like a rolling museum or an art exhibit with trinkets and treasures from the tip to the top to the trunk.
I love like a little toy whip in the top.
Bill has no idea how many things he's glued to his car. One person estimated about 1,800.
It's like trying to count chickens. You can't count them. They just dart around all the time, you know.
This all started with one bird fastened on front because Bill always liked hood ornaments. Now, 2 years later, it's hard to find that first decoration among the crowd of creatures, cartoon characters, and keychains. Almost all of them given to him by kids.
Well, they've given me rocks, they've given me sticks. I took it happy.
Mr. Grider knows some of these pieces have become collectible items over the years, and he's been offered a lot of money for some of them, but none of these pieces are for sale.
That yellow-looking horse up there, there's 2 truck drivers offered me $100 for that horse. I don't do it on account of kids.
Wow.
Most people who see the car can't help but smile.
Oh man, this is absolutely amazing. This will bring happiness to anybody.
Well, except for one recent bystander.
She cussed and said, "How do you see to drive that crazy looking trap?" And I said, "Lady, I can't." I said, "I can't see." But I said, I live here and I pretty well know where I'm going.
Actually, at age 88, Bill Grider gets along fine.
I'm careful.
And keeps his line of sight clear and legal. Every time he hits the road, it's a joyride. The car is the talk of the town, and Bill believes there's still room for more conversation pieces.
Yeah, I could put 100 on there.
Now, Mr. Grider does have another newer car he takes on longer trips, but he says it's not nearly as much fun to drive. The spirit of the Bluegrass really shines during holidays and special occasions. With July 4th just around the corner, I'm reminded of a unique group that spreads joy in an annual small town parade. When we come back, see how it goes the extra yard to entertain. Some of my favorite stories over the years have been around the holidays, visiting with people who play Santa at Christmas, go ghost hunting on Halloween, or spread kindness on Valentine's Day. With Independence Day just around the corner, I wanted to reintroduce you to a group that I caught up with in 2017. The members spend weeks getting ready for a parade, and their patriotic spirit of the Bluegrass is a cut above. Wilmore is the picture of a patriotic town. It may be small, but its 4th of July parade has the same things you'll see in big city processions. Police and politicians, cars and kids, floats and flags. But there was one thing missing from this parade this year. A group that practiced for hours to get here had to cancel. Rainy days don't cut it for what they do.
It's art. it's fine art.
It's the Wilmore Lawnmower Brigade.
When I do tweet, tweet, that just means forward march.
A tradition that goes back 25 years.
Does that make sense?
An Asbury College music professor set the wheels in motion.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
This year, a pastor took over the handles, making sure these lawn boys were sharp at practice.
You have to have a push lawnmower, you have to have a good sense of humor, and a little coordination. And what you need is a good sense of humor. The other two are iffy. You know, we can provide lawnmowers for if they don't have lawnmowers.
Make no mistake, they do have coordination as they move at a pretty good clip. This is their turf.
Pretty good, pretty good.
The music comes from a single speaker pulled by a John Deere tractor. It's often the only music in the parade. Two guys, Doug Butler and Ken Reitz, have run in the same circles since this all began in 1992. So they get the honorary spots at the front of the line.
It's hard. I mean, we end up drenched with sweat by the time it's done. It's just fun to do.
Even though the brigade missed this year's parade, it got to perform for an audience. People always watch from their porches when the guys practice in the streets.
Not bad.
And of course, they're used to being asked if they'll mow a few lawns while they're at it.
And why didn't we bring weed eaters?
It was a tough call to sit out the parade, but wet streets and sharp blades don't mix. Their absence stood out like a tall blade of grass.
When we say we're the highlight of the parade here, seriously, I think that's true.
Yeah, it was disappointing to not have them here this year. So we'll look forward to it next year.
Yes, there's always next year. You can bet the cut-ups will be out again next summer, sharpening their skills and hoping for a sunny return to tradition. The Lawnmower Brigade will be in the Wilmore Parade again this 4th of July. Let's hope it doesn't rain this year. Thanks for being with me for a look back at some of the people who spread joy in the spirit of the Bluegrass. I'll keep looking for more people just like them telling their stories each week on Fox 56 News. I'll leave you with some photographs to tell a story. For more than 20 years, Mark Bradford has been a mail carrier in rural Harrison County. He takes pictures along the route with his cell phone. Enjoy some of his work as we sign off. Until next time, I'm Marvin Bartlett with the Spirit of the Bluegrass.